Hello everyone, Kenty Tiger here with Bengali Engineering in Play. We are back in Space Engineers and continuing on in the Survival Series 2. The project here has been to work on in this case, set of miners, a pair of miners. So this is my most favorite miner. And it looks like it is almost... Nope, I guess it is. Looks like it's done, which is always good. And then this is the much more large-scale miner here, as you can see. And this also looks like it's done. So a couple of things we need to do is start putting ice and uranium in. So what I'm going to do is start with uranium. Inventory, and here's uranium. Unfortunately, I gotta get underneath this thing. There we go. Oops. Okay, which is really, I wanted inventory. Reactors. Try that again. Reactor. Wow, this is going to take a little while to fill. So the good news is we have one reactor out of, I think there's like 8 or 9 on that this little particular monkey. Okay. So we'll do that again. I keep doing okay, and I should be doing... Did it again. Small ship reactor. I want that one. Okay, and then we're gonna pull in ice this time, and the ice really is because we're gonna go through that in like seconds, because obviously this is propelled by ice ultimately. Come on. So this will probably be gone in, yeah, it won't take very long. But once we have propulsion, then we can actually potentially move this. But no. Alright, so first step was that particular miner, and hopefully I was hoping we would see some hydrogen production happening there, but maybe not. I can see this particular... of course it's not going to let me... So we're back to this. Strange bug where you can't actually select the port. there. Cargo container 7, I'm going to go ahead and put that there. We'll go down here, grab some ice, and hopefully start getting this process going. More trips. And got some hydrogen. So here's what we're going to do. So one of the issues here that makes things exceedingly difficult is the projections, whenever they're on, completely hose up anything that's selectable, like a port, a cockpit. I couldn't begin to explain why it does it. It does. So the other thing, now that we actually have hydrogen power, so we are powered. We have some power here. Then I am going to actually get rid of this thing. There we go, and this will either crash. Oh. Okay, good. Bob picked that up. Sorry, the build and repair system picked that up. Alright, and we should have a little easier time getting onto the connectors. Alright, this also will let us much more easily address, let's get these other couple of gas generators functional as well, and then come back and fill up. Inventory, more ice. So those are working pretty hard to fill up everything, and of course the vessel itself is at idle, so it is burning I don't want to say minuscule amount, but it is burning hydrogen just to be idling. This is working normally, which I don't see why it wouldn't be, then I may actually be able to so this container 7 is where I jumped into here. So the units should be able to pull directly from the inventory there. So what I will do is grab 2 more loads of ice and inventory, drag this over. This is more than enough to maintain. I mean, this is better than 500,000 ingots there. So I don't think I need any more uranium. More ice, which because this thing is completely dependent upon ice to do what it does. Way down. So the idea is to get this up to the point where the hydrogen tanks and everything are ready to go. So a lot of drills there. I actually want to get down to my hydrogen tanks so I can see hydrogen thrusters. All of my hydrogen tanks. There we go. 44%, 45%. Yeah, so these guys have quite a ways to go. So I guess another couple batches of ice. After all, we have 14 million of ice. Definitely won't hurt to get some ice in here. And we'll go back over to the little guy. I still do not see. Oh, went to the wrong port. So the generator is not using any more oxygen. Let's go ahead and get in here. Oh, now they start. Alright, fuel capacity. Nice generator. And the batteries are charging. Let's see what is. So this is on. Cargo transmit. Hydrogen tank. Hydrogen tank is 100. Battery. Current input 0. We want to turn that off. Alright. So now that those have lit off by way of me climbing into the seat, no idea how that really went about. Alright, and this guy, I think we're going to go ahead and dismantle this guy. We don't really need any more. Alright. So this guy is still filling up, probably slowly. We have our battery status is good. We have decent power, but we don't have. I think we're very close to max here. Cargo. We have ores summary, oxygen generators, and hydrogen tanks are building. So let's jump into this monster. I'm going to try and keep my perspective here. So I am one block up. So I am going to just shift sideways here. Probably what happened was convert to ship. Yeah. There we go. So this is definitely a monster. So one of the things that I want to do here, we have not set up our cargo teleporter, but everything is currently me. So I'm going to go ahead and shut everything off there. Small cargo container. This is actually going to get renamed to cargo transmit, because that is the conventions that I use and that I'm already set up for. And this is going to be transmitting to a container called elsewhere receiver. So we have the remote control cargo transmit, which works together with the teleport system. So this is systems cargo teleport. We're going to do a save. We're going to turn this off on the toolbar. We're going to leave both of those on inventory, but turn them off otherwise. So large miner is actually the antenna in this case, which is set to 50K, and then the remote control, which we may or may not use. Alright, so just looking at what we have here, I don't know what G is, or 6, sorry, 6. 6 is stone ejection system. Okay, yeah. So let's go ahead and do a tour here. I know I've kind of highlighted what these miners can do. in the past. So this is entirely hydrogen powered. We have 6 gyros on each side. We have the antenna over here. We have a large array of 16 directional thrusters in every direction. So these are these 4 cardinals around the center axes. We've got 2 large thrusters port and starboard, so 4 total for our backwards thrust. This is going to be a problem. So the problem here is we need 4 blocks. 4 blocks in front of a thruster, so this is not going to work. Not going to work for us. Might be able to put that up here though. Alright, so that is unfortunate. 6. Okay. So we're gonna have to add that in. Alright, here's so 8 hydrogen thrusters moving forward. I think I'm going to put a small hydrogen thruster on for that forward, my thrust override mode like we did before. So I would like to integrate that in. So we have our 4 hydrogen tanks over here. We have don't know if there's room. Yeah, there's probably room up front here for another container. I don't know if there's actually a container up there or not. So we have a boatload of containers. Now, here's one of the things that's built into this particular miner. So we have these sorters. Now, why are there 4 sorters? Well, vanilla sorters have 1,000 inventory. That's it. 1,000 liters inventory. So I happen to be running my game on inventory times 3, so that means each one of these has 3,000 inventory. So between the 4 of these, there's 12,000 inventory at a time. Now, when you're drilling through rock, you can take in a boatload of rock at a time. So the idea here, this is the stone ejection system. So these sorters are set up to pull in stone. They actually store in their small containers underneath all of these, because these two also have limited storage capability. So these can only eject so much stone at a time. So the idea is that when you turn this stone ejection system on, then it will eject stone for you. Now, the sorters appear to be on. I don't know why they are on, because I do not want them at this point to be doing that. We actually do not need the timer anymore to do what it does. So let me go ahead and get back in here. Okay, the stone injection system is on, so I want to go ahead and turn that off. I guess I should have just read it, right? Our remote control is off, our antenna is on, which it needs to be on, and then we have our port or actually our upper and lower connector. The drills right now are off and our ore detector is off. So having looked at all that, we need to make a couple changes here. One of the changes is, so we also have a medical bay here, which is very convenient. I need to put the cargo transmit system in. And I need to do that in such a way that we're pulling from our containers. I don't know what these are. Pulling from our containers without being behind the sorter. So let me go ahead and once again, what I want to do here is, oh darn it, I didn't want to do that. This is actually why I have a proficient grinder instead of a regular grinder, because it will actually help me with that problem. So the question is, why do we have all of these conveyors here? So what I'm looking for is battery. This is a battery. What I'm looking for is a place that I can put in battery. A place I can put in the cargo transmit system, and I suppose I could do it here. Basically eliminate these two batteries. So let me look and see what this battery is. Battery 12, battery 13, and I really do not know how many batteries there are. 12 and 13, so there's a bunch of batteries. So I guess we'll go ahead and do that. Normally I really don't like deleting batteries, but in this case, this is a row of something for some reason, so it is there for a reason. Don't know what that reason necessarily is. But okay, so the first thing we do is get the right color. And then get my rotation put on correctly here. So this is the small container, and we will go ahead and put right next to this this guy. So this is the actual cargo transmitter. So we go back to number 1 and 7, and we'll go ahead and weld these guys up. And we already have those parts in the inventory because I dismantled those guys. Alright, so let's go ahead and configure. So this is a small cargo container, and this, of course, like we did before, is actually called cargo transmit. The question is, alright, I wanted to make sure that I had not added, because one of the smaller, the 49 drill miner, I actually incorporated a small container with this name in it, so it was built ready to go. It was entirely vanilla, so all I would have to do is paste on the transmitter and boom, done. So I wanted to make sure I did not actually do that here. Okay, let's turn this off. The cargo teleporter, we'll do the same thing again. This is transmit to elsewhere receiver. So it's transmitting to a container on the other end by the name of also a receiver. There's the teleporter on the other end, the pair to this one, that is actually pulling from this guy. So the other thing we need to do is drain all, blacklist none, so pull everything, pull everything. So cargo transmitter, we'll go ahead and re-add our systems cargo teleport. Save. We're going to turn this off on the toolbar and off on the terminal. So unhide everything. We just want to Control A, verify that this remains as me. And then we have the antenna and the remote control. So we're pretty much right back where we were. So we have turned off the ejection system, which is what we wanted to do. So all we have to do is replace all the panels here. So let me go ahead and get to that steel plate. Spin this around the correct way. There we go. And start pasting the plates down here. And then now that we have all those there, we will go ahead and find our welder and start welding. So kind of hidden the mechanism here for the cargo transmit, but I mean we can still see it next to our medical bay, which is a good thing here. Then the last thing we have to do is go ahead and get in here, and then we will actually, rather than have an on-off for the remote control. Normally I just kind of leave the remote control on, but I suppose there are some reasons why you might not want to do that. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to move the antenna out to slot 9, which is going to be an on-off, and then for whatever reason, oh, I know why. So what I need to go back in is K, my cargo teleport. We're actually going to turn those on the toolbar. Let me go ahead and turn that on the terminal, because cargo transmit does not need to show up on the toolbar, nor does it need to show up in the terminal. So in this case, so this does, I do want that on the toolbar, and turn this off. Okay, so get myself re-coordinated here. Close this. G again. We should have now our cargo teleport showing up, and we will put toggle block on and off. And the only other thing that I could do on this particular machine is actually put a refinery or refineries in, and you know, the good news and the bad news. Do I want to waste the space to do that? Do I want to go ahead and cheat and put on the Kenti refineries, or do I just leave it to transmit the ore as it is back to the station, and then let the station deal with it? And I'm kind of inclined to just let the station deal with it. Alright, so we have reconfigured everything. We've powered up, we've turned off. So I think the only thing that we could do at this point is go ahead and take a blueprint of this particular guy. This one is slightly different, so let me actually go ahead and rename this, because obviously this is no longer vanilla, not quite. It's okay. Info. Oh, and it doesn't actually have a name. So this is large miner 304 drill C teleport, right? Okay. Okay, so then we'll back off. We have now renamed this to something kind of interesting, and we will do a Control B, which, there we go, there it is. And at this point, we should be able to successfully drive this around. Okay, not okay, I want a T. And head towards our large asteroid here. So we have enough thrust to make this thing move. We have enough thrust to stop it, but that, oh, you know what? We forgot. I forgot. So there's my hole. I'm actually going to want to aim for the hole. No pun intended. Let me get somewhat lined up here. And the last thing, which I completely forgot to do, was add on my this one thruster, and the intention of the one thruster is to push forward here. And do I want to do that? Where do I want to do that? Maybe we will put them here. Or do we put them down low? Yeah, let's put them here. So we're going to put one on each side because we have this this kind of the hole right here. So let me go ahead and my toolbar number 8, hydrogen thrusters. So we have our large and our small thrusters. This is a small thruster, and we will flip this sideways. So we will put one there, and one here. And there are two things that we're going to also do. So 6, I'm actually going to grind this out and this out. And in the place of that, we're going to put what I want is a inverted corner. Alright, I don't know if I have the materials to weld. I need metal grid. And, okay, so. Here's my station. So I need, here's where inventory, easy inventory comes in. So I'm selected onto a conveyor system. One, this is the item that I want to build. So easy inventory, you basically select the item you want to build. You go up to a conveyor system which has parts and pieces, and you do a right click. And what does it say? Successfully withdrew all the items. So as long as they're in the inventory, they will find them and pull them in. Any connector, any port on the side of a container, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we got 2 of those, and then if we go over here, we did thrusters. So this is a hydrogen thruster, happens to be a small hydrogen thruster. So 1 thruster, 2 thrusters. Okay, so I pulled all those parts that I need in my inventory, and we can go 0 here and inventory and actually look at those. So this is everything I need to build those 4 blocks pulled into the inventory. So easy inventory, it's really, really neat. It's a mod, but it doesn't show up anywhere. It's just there. It just works. So you subscribe to the mod, put it active whenever you load your world, and magically it works. Right click, done. So really, really neat. I very much like it. All right, so back to the thing. Oh, we put them on the bottom, and I am looks like completely upside down. So 7. Weld. There's that one done. That one done. Over here. Battle grids, and then that one done. All right. Now that we have that, we're going to go ahead and 0 to deselect everything. We're going to go ahead and just use this as an access port. So we have hydrogen thrusters 1 and 2. So this is mining thruster. Oh, thruster 01. And we're going to go ahead and copy that name and then do mining thruster 02. And what I really should do is do port and starboard, but not knowing which one of those is what, then I really don't know. So this is my systems. Do I have thrusters? Yes, I do. So let's call this thruster mining, because we have thruster large, we have thruster small, so we'll call this thruster mining. Save. Now, those are turned off, and the reason they're turned off is that we're going to put these at 500 newtons. And the reason I put them at 500 newtons, I'll probably need to put these at a little more, because this is a heavy ship. So we'll do this at 1 kilonewton here. I'm going to turn the thrusters themselves off on the toolbar and the terminal. And the reason for that is I have this group. And the group is going to show up. And so what we're going to do here is configure now our cockpit to include, so T, we're going to go on to the second toolbar, which actually has a bunch of stuff already, and something missing. So let's go ahead and go G, figure out what this was. I don't know what that was. Don't know what that was. Forward, aft, port, starboard, dorsal. Huh, I don't know what that was. upper, forward, port, starboard, and lower. Upper, lower, port, starboard. Okay, we have our spotlights here. We have our oxygen generator, which do we really need to do anything with the oxygen generators? Batteries is a recharge, and then large reactors is use conveyor or not. Not quite as important as it used to be. So the idea here is that if you end up with some uranium in storage, this will continually pull in uranium, exactly as it was designed to do. But you may actually at some point want to have only a certain amount of uranium in the reactors and then store uranium. So the other reason I did this is that if you ever go backwards to one inventory rather than a ×3 or a ×10, then if your reactor actually has more in it than one of those down steps, it doesn't truncate what's in it, it deletes it. And this is one of my long-standing complaints. It's always done that. So what we're going to do here is add this new thruster group, large mining, this mining thruster group here into this, which is this toggle block on and off. And what that's going to do for us, so we have our drill that we can turn on and off, and we can actually turn our thruster on and off, or thrusters rather, on and off. Alright, so one of the things I do want to do, did I just purposely get myself, no, I'm right side up. I'm not sure how I was, Alright, T now is the test to see exactly what the monster can do. So what I want to do is line up a little better on the face here. So I'm almost centered on the hole that I created before. We're not centered here, so let's get mostly centered. Alright, and then move ourselves forward. We'll go ahead and get our drills running. And one of the things I want to do is just make sure all the drills are running. Yes, they are. So those holes look really strange. Visual illusion there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and test. Okay, so the bad news is, if I look at it from that perspective, so these small thrusters actually do not have enough thrust to. So mining thrusters. Let's go up to 5 kilonewtons and see if that is actually. No, they will stop. Take a jump. Still behaving as if back well away from this just in case I really get going here. So normally when the dampers are off, and it is slowing down. So perhaps what we will do is find a group mining, and what I'm actually going to do here is toggle. Decrease thrust override and increase thrust override. And what I really want to do is see at what point does this start actually moving the ship. So 550, 95. So at 185 we can actually maintain 0.06. And 10, 12, 13. Alright, I think I'm actually happy with that. Alright, so having seen that, we'll go back to number 2, which is our kind of our piloting one. We'll back off a little bit. We'll get closer here to our asteroid. I think we're going to dip our nose just a little more to be a little more symmetrical, I think, with the face. We'll get ourselves lined up once again, and we'll get in here close. So at some point here we have our, let me go ahead and check, verify that we have our cargo teleporter is on. We don't really need the ore detector. We've got all the different ores here. We don't need the stone ejection. We actually want to collect all that stone, and we'll keep it and use it. Drills are on, and yeah. So I think number 2 here. We just want to get in close. And then when I think there we see a little bit, then we'll go ahead and put this on here and see if we manage to keep up. So we are a little bit off on the face, but I guess that's okay. The one thing that I did not do, let's do a quick save there. The one thing I didn't do was actually take a blueprint of this, now that I have these things put in here, and so the thrusters are put in, they are aligned, so the alignments are complete. Now if I go back into the cab, one of the things that you can see here is we're taking in, so here's iron, so we have 4 million stone, 4.4 million stone. So, oh, but we are out of ice. If there's any good news to be had, we are going to mine through some ice. So the downside is we are very slowly using our hydrogen. We are completely out of ice. So slowly rolling down as far as hydrogen goes. And of course, this is a hydrogen-propelled ship. So we are going to want to see the ice happen here. Now the other side of things is we are not very far into this, and we are at 18% of our cargo capacity. Not necessarily a good thing. So a lot of iron coming in, still a lot of stone coming in, 21%, 86% hydrogen. Okay, and we are clearly getting into ice because I just saw ice in the generator 1. There we go. So the ice generator is now kicked back in fully. We are actually generating more hydrogen than we are using, which is great. 0.3 meg of ice, awesome. Now, unfortunately, one of the things that happened when I turned on the cargo teleporter is I had that uranium and the ice that was in that cargo container 7. It pulled it and sent it back. So the only time a sorter and the cargo teleporters function similarly to a sorter, they behave as a sorter does, but they transmit instead of just pull it through. They take ice and everything out of, so the only thing that that protects whatever it is you have is if they're, for example, a reactor. If you put uranium in a reactor, then the uranium is going to stay there. If you put ice into an ice generator, it's going to stay there. So that's one of the things about the cargo teleport, and in fact we could go ahead and configure the cargo teleport. So let's go ahead and look at that teleport. We could actually change the way this works and blacklist ice and uranium ingots. And what this would ultimately do for us is it would not pull out the uranium ingots that we put into storage specifically to keep the reactor powered, and it would not pull through ice. Now the problem is you may need a bunch of ice back on your station, so this is something that you may want to remove and add in at some point. So we have currently, as you can see, 5.8 million ice. We may actually end up taking in more material here than the teleport system, the cargo teleport system, can actually deal with. Obviously, with the 300 something drills on the front here, it's quite a bit. So we have gotten our miner working, which is actually one of the goals of this particular episode, was to actually finish up the miners and then get it working. And we have now mostly accomplished that. So with that in mind, This is Kenty Tiger signing off. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time.